catalyst for change with the chance to thrive. Crystal is the one to stir up gifts and save lives. You get exposure, promotion, and marketing too. And advertise for business owners just like you. On Storytime, your interview is global. Virtual or in person, just come on the show. Yo, your story matters. Crystals will open the door. 40 years of experience, ready to give you more on Storytime. Get ready for Storytime. Hey, come on.
Well, good evening. Welcome to Storytime. I am so excited to be here with you today for another episode of Storytime. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm your girl, Crystal Bodie Smith, and we are here to give you another amazing episode to share with you some great people that we come across over the years that are doing some amazing things. And I just want to say welcome. I hope you're having an amazing Sunday evening. It's April 27th, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Wherever you are in the world, it might be a different time, but we thank you for being here. And if you're somewhere else, we welcome you on Facebook. We welcome you on LinkedIn. We welcome you on YouTube, StreamYard, and Instagram. We welcome all of you. And we thank you so much for being here. And we just like to tell you that we have a couple that is absolutely remarkable. And another word that you may have heard when you speak of them may be brilliant. They are absolutely brilliant. Okay. And that is Michael Stewart Isaacs and Miss Shemeka Ebony, his wife. And I cannot wait for you to just see who they are and hear about their story. All right. So I am going to show you something here right quick so you can see if you've never seen their face. And if you're on Instagram, I'm going to invite you to come on over and to YouTube. Come on over to Storytime with Shal Crystal. But this is my guest for tonight, Michael and Shemeka Isaac. And we're going to hear about the I Am Brilliant story. You know, this couple, I remember when I first met them years ago, and it was on the campus of St. Augustine's, and they had this sign that they had me to hold up to say, I am brilliant. And I was like, wow. And I'll never forget how that made me feel. That was kind of amazing. And I'm just amazed that they're still doing this 10 years later. They're still having people hold up this sign, and they're still helping people to discover their brilliant self. So what we're going to do to get right on, because we don't waste no time, because they are someone that are doing things, both of them, individually and collectively. They have it going on, y'all. So I need to go ahead and bring my guests in the room, because I know I see them in the studio. So we're going to get this thing started, and then I'm going to share some information because we can't wait. First, I'm going to start out with the beautiful wife. I'm going to start out with Shemeka Ebony. Ebony, are you there?
Yes, I am here. So glad to be here and glad to be a guest with you tonight, Crystal.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. I am going to call your better half to the stage in a minute, but I just want to say thank you, because I know that y'all are busy. Y'all are productive. I don't want to say busy. I want to say y'all are productive. All right, productive. Yeah. Because it's a difference between being busy and being productive. All right. So Instagram, I'm going to invite you, Instagram, to come on over to YouTube, Storytime with Shal Crystal. Michael, how you doing today?
I am doing good, Crystal. Happy to be here today. Excited to definitely share our story, and happy to be here with my beautiful wife, Shemeka.
Yes. Yeah, beautiful. I love it. I love it. Let me ask you a question before we get into the I Am Brilliant story. I want to hear about the love story. Oh, boy. I want to hear about how did Shemeka and Michael Stewart Isaacs meet? I want to hear. I'm going to ask you first, because sometimes there's a different version when you talk to both couples. You know, Shemeka, how did y'all meet?
Oh, we met in community, Crystal. You know, we were both really focused on doing community work, showing up. And he actually popped up at an event that I did. And it was so nice seeing him search all over trying to figure out who coordinated it, because he wanted to know who was in charge. So that if you know Michael, you know he is very persistent in getting whatever he wants or getting the information he wants. So I just sat back and watched him ask several people, who's in charge, who put this together. And after I got my little tickle out of it, I went up and introduced myself with a handshake and let him know I coordinated the community engagement event he was attending.
Wow. That had to be interesting to watch him go around the room asking people, who did this? I want to know. And you know it's you. And just to sit back and look at him. And then how did you feel when you finally went up to him and said, yeah, it's me. I'm the one you're looking for. Take that to the brother.
It felt really good. It felt good to, like, you know, because I have this thing. I always I like to do the handshake. Let me introduce myself. And so in this caliber, in this community engagement event, it was 4 residents that lived in the community. And I hadn't met everyone that lived out there. So, you know, it was a proud moment for me to be like, here I am. Come on, what you need? And for me, it was more like, what do you need? Like, is there something more that you needed? So it was more a good, I'm at your service handshake that he got that day.
Wow. And Michael, so when she came and she introduced herself, what was your first reaction?
Well, besides how beautiful she is, now I think my first reaction was just more of impressed. It was an event that was done in a community that we were living in at the time. It was a community that was written off in a lot of ways by the general public. And I finally saw someone who was like, I saw an event that was engaging the community with the level of respect I felt they deserved to basically celebrate and not be treated like they were, you know, some kind of refugees or some kind of, you know, vagabonds of people. Like, these were human beings that need to be celebrated at every condition. And the way her event was going, she always has a way of making people feel good and feel engaged. So the event already reflected that spirit of who she was. And so as I was, you know, when we met, it wasn't us both looking for anything romantic. It was literally a way of, I found someone who finally matched what I thought service should look like when entering a community. And then from there, it just became a friendship. Our children actually became friends. We both had children. I had 2 daughters. She had 2 sons. They ended up going to summer camp and hanging out. And as summer camp parents, we just became friends. We both at the time were divorcees, just kind of figuring out where life was. And again, not looking for the next relationship, just slowly getting to know one another. She was a woman of God and faith. And I was very impressed with the level. I mean, she was actually, if I could tell it right, she lets me tell it, she was a practicing minister of sorts. And I too saw myself doing ministry work in a lot of what we were doing in community. So ultimately, again, it was just a friendship that just continued to persist. And as she always says, we've been on a long walk ever since.
Wow. So Mecca, do me a favor, lean your laptop forward so it'll be a little less on the top. That way we can kind of be around the same height. So listen, let me ask y'all a question. Mike, you said something so key. You said you found somebody who matched what you thought was service. And so Mecca, I mean, how important that, I think that's probably why I'm still single, because that's important to me. Like, because we out there all the time, we doing things, and when you get the wrong person, they have an issue when you're always gone. They have an issue when you're always in the community. They don't know how to receive you because you're always talking to people. So, man, Mecca, I mean, wow, when you hit the jackpot, when did you know, like, okay, he's going to be the one? I mean, because for us community activists and advocates that are out here grinding all the time, tell us the secret. How did you know he was the one?
if it boils down to knowing that he was the one, it was someone that I knew that was going to keep walking with me, and I wouldn't have to lay down my assignment. And that was something after I got divorced. It was just like, all right, God, I'm good. But if you're going to send someone to me, A, I'm not lost, so I don't need to be found. And B, it's going to be someone that's going to keep walking. I'm here. I'm in the hedges and highways. I'm on assignment. It's going to be someone that's going to be on assignment with me. And that's how we will find each other, is that we're on assignment. And so when I look back, hindsight, over this 10-year journey, he's been very true to it from day one. Him being on assignment, his passion, like his entrepreneurship, knowledge and mentorship helped me get drafted. What he would always say, he didn't want me to be the person that's overused and undervalued working with other people in community. And he introduced an entrepreneurship pathway because I was all about serving people, helping people. I just wanted to help. And he saw that because of my level of expertise and my servant's heart, that it could be misused and misdirected if mishandled. And I appreciate him so much for stepping in and showing me the pathway of entrepreneurship, because I still help and I still serve. I just get some extra dollar signs behind my service.
Come on. The man stepped up and showed you the monetization side of it and said, listen, and he understood that people with heart like ours, sometimes we will give, and people will take if you don't, find that balance. So I applaud you, Michael, for seeing that. I applaud you for doing that. And then how easy was it for you to allow her to still be her individual self, because you have your own assignment? And so I know as a leader, being able to respect her assignment and then blend the assignments, how did you manage that?
That's a really great question. I think honestly, it was never, honestly, to this day, it still feels effortless. I think, with Shemeka's heart and just the way she's a minister, I mean, at the core of who she is. So I have before I could say we have a great relationship, I think we both have a great relationship with God. Yes. And so I think that part was something we realized in our previous relationships, as we tend to deem, we call our previous relationships substitute teachers, right? It's that person that fills in for a while, but they don't necessarily know all the material. And so with that, with Shemeka, she was just a breath of fresh air in regards to her wisdom. And she's from a wonderful town. I'll let her tell her more, but she's from a wonderful town called Kinston. And one of my greatest mentors was from Kinston, and he was the one who taught me not just mentorship in business, but a mentorship in ministry and in the word. And so there was always just some connection there from where her hometown was and this individual who kind of discipled me. And it prepared my mental and mind for a woman like Shemeka, that I understood a good thing when I saw it, even if it was just going to be a friend or a business partner. I knew she was a good thing and a good person. And, I'm originally from New York, but I grew up in Raleigh. And, part of me just was, I always say to people, I'm from Brooklyn, and it's like, I'm always going to be that Brooklyn bully or that protector one way or another. So, nobody was going to mess with Shemeka, right? Because I knew she was on assignment, and my ministry may have been entrepreneurship. And I'm grateful to see the day that entrepreneurship is having nowadays, where everyone wants to run to it. But someone like her, like I said, I just didn't want to see her abused and used by other people, particularly men. I can't say it like that, especially when it comes to community, because the men out there, oh, you can write for a grant. Oh, write me this grant. Oh, you can do these things. Oh, do this for me. And then, brothers might be mad at me out there, but y'all know what y'all do. Y'all use women to do all the work that actually gets the job, gets the gig. And then you take all the credit for it, right? Wow. And I didn't want her to experience that because I felt like she was way too intelligent. I've worked with a lot of powerful women in my career, and I just saw this power and this light that came out of Shemeka that was so great. And I just really wanted to, guard it so she could get to the full potential of what was possible. One thing I could tell you is I lived a career where I worked with, in my past, my entrepreneur started with entertainment, and I felt like I made a lot of people famous, or was a part of the development of famous people that are singers and rappers and things like that. And they get famous and they almost forget everybody.
Say that again. Almost?
Yeah,
Oh, they do. No,
they
let's
did.
call it what
Okay.
it is.
I,
They
I'm
do.
gonna say there's a
They
few good
forget-
ones out there, but for the
they
most part,
forget
yes,
where
they
they
forget.
came from.
They forget everyone who helped them. So what I promised myself in that era of life, and Shameka was alluding to that, is that I was no longer going to make the wrong people famous anymore. If I was going to back somebody, I wanted someone who truly had a heart for people. And I wanted the type of ministry and the type of community work that I saw happening with her to be what was famous, because I felt like that was almost a redemption moment to say that I made the negative messages out here famous. And now it's time to take someone who has such a positive, pure message and do the exact same thing. And it's been a journey, but we definitely found a way cleverly to craft it. And that's what led us down this path of I Am Brilliant.
Wow. And I wanted to speak on that for a moment, because I know that as y'all are out here doing what you do in the community, well respected, well known, and people, well sought out, the story behind how you met is very important, because you're two very powerful people that individually came together. And there's a lot of other people that are maybe envious or may want to know how it happened, because they probably would like to see the same thing. And I'm one of them. So that's why I asked the question.
No, we got you. We got
Because
you.
it is important. It is important as women leaders. So my next question to you, Shameka, is, being the leader that you were, single mom, head of household, a lot of times, sometimes we have more of that alpha side of us. We are, we're the go-getters. We're doing everything. How easy was it for you to back down and kind of step away and allow him to step up and lead you and just kind of take the back seat?
Oh, that's such a great question, Crystal. And it really stemmed from me trusting God, and then God showing me that it was safe to trust him. Because the thing about submission is not hard when you're not fighting to surrender. And when you feel safe to surrender, there is no fight. And so, being a survivor of child sexual abuse, sexual assault, there were some other walls and barriers and guardrails that I had to center and really take him through filters with before I could be okay to trust. But once I felt safe in his arms, safe with his words, safe, then it was so easy to surrender. And it wasn't a fight at all. Like and that's one thing I pride about our relationship, is that we committed ourselves to our friendship. So, you don't divorce your friends. Like your best friends really are your best friends for life. And so we haven't created an environment that we make each other feel unsafe. We're not an argumentative type a group against one another, because we understand the power of us being a team and being on the same team. And so we kind of bridge that gap very early, being committed to our friendship and growing that. And then also working in business together. Like, I couldn't just break up with him. I was in business with him, so those were some things that kind of fell into place. But it was just like, it was once the trust was there, me trusting God first and then trusting the God in him, really allowed for the surrender to be like just a real surrender. It wasn't a fight. Oh, you're muted, Crystal.
I want to make sure while I was.
It's back muted.
It muted itself again, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. I keep hitting the button. I'm sorry. That's me. So I wanted to make sure while you were talking that you could hear me reaching for something over here. But so last question before we go on to the business side of it. Michael, you heard her say she felt safe. A lot of times it takes women a minute to let their guard down like that. Any suggestions to the men out there that may be in a position that you were in on how they could be more successful, because maybe they're not going about it the right way? How do you think you were able to achieve that with her and be successful in allowing her to relinquish her goals, sit back and receive your help and allow you to lead her?
That's a beautiful question. I think the real truth, honestly, and I know it in most cases can seem typical, basic, but honestly, it's God. God told me that she was someone that was worthy of this level of comfort and protection. I mean, it's always true. I think the thing I learned, and I think something that when we first met, Shemeka really kind of hit me too, was a gentleman by the name of Miles Monroe. And she was really into him, and my mentor was, but I kind of was catching up. And in our feeding each other when we were building our friendship, I remember her letting me listen to him. And one of the things that made all the sense in the world for me at that time, I was, like I said, going through my own previous relationship breakup, feeling even unyoked with the last person I was with. I may have dated a little bit to see where the world was going. But when me and Shemeka met, it was more of the understanding of when I learned from Miles Monroe was just about finding those whole people, finding someone who was already whole. And I think part of what it is that it's the communication gap between men and women is that people act as if they're missing something too soon, right? They're not working totally on themselves. Shemeka was a woman that I met that already did the work on herself. She has a beautiful book titled Getting Naked While I'm Getting Naked, but she did some work on herself that was visible right away, and it lacked insecurity. And I think that's the thing with myself too. I was doing work on myself where the number one thing what I was trying to do was remove my ego, which anyone who's ever heard the acronym of ego, EGO, edging God out, I've always been cautious not to edge God out of my life where I made it all about myself. And so when I'm able to do that, it was able to almost like there was a frequency of, connection between me and her that I wasn't resistant of. And I didn't feel, like I said, I've done the work on myself. So I felt whole and she felt whole. So we weren't necessarily two people looking for our better half. We were coming together as two whole people who said, you know what, if we came together fully, we can make something amazing happen. And God gave us a lot of amazings ever since then.
Wow, that's amazing. That is amazing. So you heard a little bit. I hope you caught what they put down. I really do. If you're just coming in, I am here with Michael Stewart Isaacs and Shemeka Ebony. They have a movement called I Am Brilliant. Now let me just show you a little bit about what that's about. We talked about them individually first because I wanted you to understand how they met each other and came together. But now I definitely want to let you talk a little bit about individually what your background is and what your personal focus is aside from I Am Brilliant, because again, I know that you both can be sought out for individual speaking engagements and you do your own thing. And so that's what I love about it, is that although you are one, you also have your individuality. And that's the beautiful thing about it. And you probably could teach that to some people. But Shemeka, tell the people, who is Shemeka Ebony and what is the assignment that you have been given?
Thanks for asking that, Crystal. And I will start by saying Shemeka is a K-Town's finest, born and raised in Kinston, North Carolina, rural community, experienced a lot of exposure to poverty and violence. And I took what I learned from growing up in that community and put it into the community engagement work that I know. And I don't fault anyone for telling me to leave Kinston and go away. But what I did when I did that and went off to college is that Kinston is everywhere I go. And so I've made it a personal commitment to be the change I want to see in every Kinston that I see, while giving back and pouring back into Kinston as well, to those present and current leaders that are on the front lines doing the work. And so with me as a mother and author, my professional side has developed and grown into leadership development. I've been called into the hedges and highways since 2012, and that meant that God put me on assignment in community to be the representation of God for people that will not go to church, that will not see a steeple and show up every Sunday. They need to see that there's a reflection of God in me and how I treat them and how I engage with them. And so I found myself on a pathway of facing this lived experience, still battling my own inequities, going through hardships of housing insecurity, food insecurity, income insecurity. So I was been a forerunner in all these things. And for me, I believe wholeheartedly that in my calling, I went through it so that other people can find their way out of it. So I didn't get stuck in the middle or feeling bad for myself or getting caught up in excuses as to why I couldn't. You know, my ex-husband was incarcerated. When I was working in community, I was walking a mile and a half to catch a bus to get my kids into private school because I wanted them to have better learning experiences than I was exposed to. So it's always been in me to push beyond what was in front of me as a barrier. And I have a saying that I believe very strongly in: when God opens doors, I take them off the hinges, because it's never really been about me by myself. Wow. If God opens the door, I want other people to be able to come through that door. And I've crafted a career and income generating, revenue generating opportunity around that, from leadership coaching, addressing health equity, community engagement, civic empowerment, and economic empowerment. And I've been that catalyst of change to show what's possible, because I'm not an anomaly. I'm just showing a representation of what it could look like if we tried a little bit more.
Come on now. All right now, Mike, my goodness. Okay, so, man, she said when God opens the door, she takes the hinges off, bro. Woo! I'm telling you, Shameka, I ain't mad at you. Girl, go ahead on. I love it because you understand it's not your story for you, it's for somebody else. How about you, Mike? What is your assignment individually?
Great point. With me, I guess for me, it's always been centered around mindset and people development. I started let me start further back, because I told myself I'm going to make sure I always tell the proper story. So I'm originally from New York. I was born and raised, born in Queens, raised in Brooklyn, raised from immigrant parents. I love telling my parents' journey and their story. My mother's from Sierra Leone, West Africa. My father's from Jamaica. You only can get made in New York with that combination. And essentially, you know, growing up, I was a wild young man who was put in here in the USA with a lot of energy, a lot of zest, always had a knack for business and selling things. My mother's a very genius level mind, so I was always good at mathematics and things like that. But my biggest hang up in life was reading. I didn't have the best reading skills, didn't have the best social skills, but I was always good at simple things. I used to run numbers for the local barbers and stuff like that in New York. Anytime anybody knows anything about running numbers, it's kind of like gambling, but you know, so I always was the person who could remember things and had a great memory as a kid. And just really tried to find different ways to always hustle. I always had a hustle in me, always trying to make a dollar. Always kind of had an inventor's mind, always wanted to make things. And when I was young, I got in some trouble in New York, so I ended up getting moved to North Carolina. So I kind of had best of both worlds, where I would spend my school years in North Carolina and then go back in the summertime and be in New York, and kind of had that back and forth kind of life. And ultimately, when I started to, you know, change my life, is I started doing martial arts and started learning a lot of the Eastern philosophies of spirituality. And that helped me to start to calm myself down a lot more, meditate, and do things that, you know, other things weren't helping me to do. And once I learned to calm down, I realized that, you know, I needed to be more productive with my attitude. Because when I was in the 8th grade, there was a young girl who looked at me one time as I was getting in trouble for trying to be that class clown, the kid who got in fights, the kid who had what they call it, one of those principals. I've been in the principal's office a little bit too many, like my file was like this thick in the principal's office, and, you know, suspensions and ISSs and all that type of stuff. And I remember a girl looked at me one time and said, "You're never going to be anything." And in that time in my life, going through martial arts and really trying to figure out what this hustle thing was in me, I had to ask myself, was I going to make that person right? So my story starts from realizing that I was making a lot of bad choices. And then I call it self-actualization. When you finally kind of get out your own way and you start to examine yourself and realize the things that you're doing that's not getting you the results you want. And that's where the math part kicks in, right? Where you do 1 + 1 over here equals 2, right? My 1 + 1 was equaling 3, and the math wasn't math. And there's to quote the great Taraji P. Henson. And so ultimately I had to do some new math and really change who I was. So ultimately from there, I said, you know what, I'm going to go full force and change my hustle to an actual business. My mother used to work at flea markets and different places like that, where I kind of honed my skills. And from there, I started my first business at the age of 13, doing a little bit of everything. I was the candy seller. I was the cutting your lawn, cleaning off snow off of people's car, whatever you could do. And then ultimately from that, I saved some money up. I started a clothing brand, which is my current company's name, called Mosaic at the time. And I also had a production company where I would work with different entertainers. So went from a kid who was told he was never going to be anything to working with what now would be considered legends in terms of the music industry, as well as in fashion. I had the good fortune being from New York and being a go-getter and having family that were go-getters. I was able to meet the guys from FUBU when I was young, when they were having their meteoric rise. I've worked with a lot of major entertainers like Destiny's Child. When I was a kid, I got a contract with Columbia Records to do promotions for this little known girl group, and it ended up being Destiny's Child. And of course, we know what that birthed in terms of their legacy and what they've built. So what I was young, from being told I was never going to be nothing, to being able to work with top entertainers and really start my own budding little clothing brand and having top people in that field tell me that I had potential, I kept on grinding and kept on building. That led to me getting featured in Black Enterprise when I was 16 years old. And from there, I was able to get even more media and press to grow and kind of tell my story. And then I was fortunate here in North Carolina, a local NFL player at the time. His name is Torrey Holt. He was so kind to hear my story, saw me in one of the news things that I was receiving at the time. And him and his team came and they offered me an opportunity that changed my life and ultimately invested in me right out of high school. And that gave me my first boost to be able to really get into the world where I was really exposed to the greater industry. And that's kind of how my career started. So it started with some ups and downs, being a troubled kid, but then ultimately more downs came when you really get into entrepreneurship. So kind of started to grow, and then I lost everything and started to have to rebuild again. And that's kind of my story. It's about resiliency and starting from being troubled. But ultimately, if you keep God first, he'll help you smooth that thing out over time and lead you to better pastures. And that's ultimately how I got on this path of my company, Mosaic, and everything that led to my beautiful wife and our development of I Am Brilliant.
Wow. Amazing. 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 So now what I want to do is we're going to go into what you two do together, because y'all, like I said, y'all are like a cup full. Like seriously, y'all come fully loaded. Like, you know what I'm saying? Some people walk around and they shooting blanks. Ain't no blanks coming out of y'all. There's no blanks coming out of y'all. So I want the people to see what you guys are doing together. Now, we talked about what you're doing individually. We want to let people see what you're doing together. And we're going to do that. I'm going to put something up, and I want the people to just hear a little bit about what we have. And check this out, y'all. Check this out and just see what they do together.
What makes a person brilliant? Believe it or not, we all have special gifts just waiting to be exposed. Our guests pride themselves on connecting the threads that weave through communities to help them institute better practices for sustainable partnerships. Welcome Shemeka Ebony and Michael Stewart Isaacs. Thank you both for joining us. Ladies first, Shemeka, how did you come up with the idea for this business?
This was a passion project for me, centered around the community engagement initiatives that I do under my firm. We really wanted to remind people that we all illuminate what we're passionate about. And once we get an opportunity to plug it into community, we become the creation of the change that we want to see.
A lot of beautiful pictures.
We're super excited.
Yeah, Michael, go ahead. The beautiful pictures we're seeing right here.
I'm just saying, just looking at the work we've done, our goal has just been really about empowering. We wanted to create a safe space for people in community to realize that everything we do in our community, the skills and talents we have, is where we should be leaders, right? Whenever people answer the question of what makes them brilliant, once you answer it, that space that you feel most comfortable is where you should be a leader in your community.
It's certainly a great goal for the company. What makes a person brilliant? Believe it or not, we all have
Sounds so
special
good, doesn't it? Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
And that's the question, Crystal. Oh, you're muted again.
How long ago was that?
That happened, I believe. Was that last year or
I feel like it was last year or the year before.
Yeah, so about last year or the year before, we did that for Black History Month with WREL. They were so kind to, see the work we've been working on. And ultimately, that's where a lot of I Am Brilliant started. It was a brainchild of Shemeka in regards to a thought she had for a potential nonprofit organization. And, together with my background in media and marketing, I said, you know what, give me a chance to do something a little bit different with this and let me know what you think. And it kind of started with the visual campaign. It was a thesis that we had that part of what we saw in the rise of different things, such as everyone was affected, of course, by what happened with Trayvon Martin. We saw the rise of Black Lives Matter, and we saw community fractured in a lot of ways. And one of the things I saw in Shemeka's heart was, of course, like I said, she was already out there serving. But I realized that, social media was growing at the rate it was growing. Of course, hashtags and things of that nature were out there really popular. But I said, it was a visualization to say, what would happen if we gave people the assumption or the assumed position that we already have the brilliance that we think we have to go to universities for, or that we have to take many years. Like, you already have something. I think Shemeka will best explain it from a concept called lived experiences. And I'll let you kind of touch on your thoughts on how we got here, man.
Before you do that, I want to read something because I took this off your website. You have something that says, from I Am Brilliant. Have you ever been asked what makes you brilliant? If not, we have created the conversation to assist you in finding answers to the elusive question. You said, imagine all the things that illuminate within your personality and your gifts. Illumination that matters for your company and for the world, dedicated to every partner's success. And then you went on to say, trust and personal responsibility are prioritized in all relationships. So, Shemeka, I want you to explain what exactly does all that mean?
Well, in a nutshell, it just really helps you understand that you illuminating your brilliance isn't a gimmick. And people having real authentic intentions of seeing the best version of yourself coming out is what we stand for and believe in. So we take very seriously the personal development of each client that we have, as well as the professional development. For me, that comes into what I do with my leadership coaching and leading from within. We don't just want the front of your restaurant to be great. We want in the kitchen to look good too. And that means dealing with the stuff that everybody can't see, but you have to trust someone with getting your kitchen in order. And our organization is here for that, for the long game, to help everyone reach their full potential, thinking and understanding with that mindset shift in mind, as well as the practical application of valuing the things that are already within you so that you don't have to be looking for external affirmations. You see what you have, the abundance in yourself, as the beginning of the start of what you've been called to do.
Wow, Shemeka. Oh my God. Do you have something you want to add to that, Mike?
Yeah, most definitely. I think ultimately, the words trust, I think that's such a hard concept, is for people to trust. And I feel honored, and let me say that here on your program, so many people have trusted us with their likeness and their image. Even when you look at sports athletes, there's a concept called NIL, right? Name, image, and likeness. And for so many leaders and so many people in communities, it's not just about the celebrity faces that we all can recognize. It's about every single young child that we've got to watch over this 10-year journey who may have held a sign at the age of 12 and now they're 22. And through that period of time, we created an echo, a catalyst catalyst. I always like to akin it back to the story I alluded to earlier about when I first got started. I was told I was never going to be anything. And it took me stepping out of myself. And the first people I told you I ever got a chance to work with is Destiny's Child. Now, I don't know too many people that don't love Beyonce and don't love some Kelly Rowland or any of those individuals. But I say that to say is that in my work and in my experience, I always wanted to prove, especially through this campaign, it gave me a chance to prove that everyone is Destiny's Child. Everyone is someone who has that light and that worthiness of celebration that we give to a Beyonce or anybody else of that caliber. And I wanted to showcase that within what my contributions were to what we do with I Am Brilliant. You know, my core company is called Mosaic. And when we first started that as a clothing brand and now as an e-commerce platform, the main mission was motivation, success, and knowledge. And so with I Am Brilliant, I wanted to find a way that we can talk to all people to realize that we're all the leaders that we're looking for. And when you find that gift and talent, that's the space that you can step into that leadership based on what you say. And not everyone's a great cook. Not everyone's a great, car detailer. Not everyone's a great, librarian. But when you do find those individuals and you're able to just put a spotlight on them, earlier today we were doing an event and there were some young kids that I'm sure in their lifetime they've been written off, maybe because they weren't great at school or whatever. But when we put that sign in their hands and I assure them and they give me the confidence to not only take their picture, but to see themselves differently. One of the things me and Shemek used to say early in the early days of I Am Brilliant is that in our community, anytime you see someone hold a sign, it's usually because they were incarcerated or because they're protesting or because they're homeless, asking for something. And so we wanted to take the image of a sign and give it a new purpose to really give people an image makeover. And we believe we've done that in such a way that, I'm not gonna lie to you, I've heard more people use the word brilliant in the last 10 years than I've ever heard, especially applied to our community. And I know we're so used to saying Black excellence, and that's amazing. But brilliance is a more resonant word because not all of us can necessarily achieve excellence, but brilliance is something that's automatic. It's that thing that turns you on. It's that light that we all have in us. And when you turn that on, it is hard to turn it off. And that's what we've been able to achieve with this campaign. So it doesn't matter if you're a seasoned person who's accomplished. Sometimes they having bad days. So for them to hold that sign and see that moment to say to themselves, I am brilliant. So it's not about me and Shemeka. We're just stewards of this, concept, but it's really about the people we get to serve every day that get to achieve this notion of brilliance that did not take any more than them waking up that morning, breathing some fresh air and doing that, whatever thing they were doing in that moment for us to acknowledge and give them that diploma of their brilliance in that moment. And we appreciate that opportunity to give people their flowers.
And y'all have to really go to their website, right? You have to really go to their website and just see what they have going on the website. Okay, it's just amazing. If you go to their website, they have messages on there. They have things on there that you'll see, and
collaborations.
You'll see all the work, and you'll see the team, a network of community partnership. Talk for a moment about your partnerships. And are you looking for new partners, and how does that work? Are you looking for new partners at the moment?
Absolutely. I can lift up for that. So our community partnerships are organizations and institutions that align with the same values of commitments to community. And we're always looking for new partners that are really wanting to, from theory to practice, be engaged with community. And then with partnership in those that need support in amplifying their brand or business, we do have supports that we do activations with our partners, as well as doing patches to kind of help them kind of put their message out to community like we've been able to be successful at doing.
Wow. And then you have the Brilliant Bunch. And who's the Brilliant Bunch? Is that your family or that?
I guess I'll take that one on. So this is where it is. This is where it really gets nifty, right? So when me and Shemeka met again, we told our love story and how we met in community, but it really starts again with our children, right? Because because we're both guarded about especially our first early set. I had 2 daughters. She had 2 sons. They're actually the same ages. So our oldest daughter, oldest son were in the same grade level. And then our 2 second sets were the same grade levels. So the Brilliant Bunch kind of came out of the work of I Am Brilliant. When we were traveling, we always have our kids with us. And so we ended up kind of taking on that moniker to kind of, tongue in cheek kind of model the Brady Bunch, where you had the mom and dad come together with their kids, and then they had to kind of bond together. And then we were blessed to have 2 beautiful, healthy baby boys together that are now at the age of 7 and 4. And they just completely blended our family together. And so ultimately, the Brilliant Bunch became a reflection of our family, our union. As I stated earlier, we were fortunate to be featured. I think I was telling you off air, we were featured in the New York Times in 2021 in their Money edition. This is during the pandemic, where they were looking to spotlight what certain families were doing when they were receiving the Biden bucks when they were first rolling out. And ultimately, we were selected by New York Times, and they had to really get into, they would say, show me the receipts. We literally and figuratively had to show New York Times our spending habits, our patterns, and they were intrigued themselves in how couple, and we were the only Black family featured in that edition. So it was other families of other backgrounds, other ethnicities, and ultimately they wanted to see how we were managing to have 4 older kids, 2 younger kids. We have, they were in, like, at that time, they were in like 4 different schools. They had different learning, plans they had to do curriculum wise, learning from home at the time. We were working from home. We had our little sons, our baby, our son at the time, he had asthma and a whole bunch. So, I mean, they were literally in all of our world, but we were able to start to tell our story. And so the Brilliant Bunch is stuck, and it basically reflects us taking our kids everywhere we go. When we speak in different city and places, we take our kids, we make it we don't just speak. Shemeka might be somewhere speaking like in Philadelphia, but we're going to now take our kids to the museum and to the Liberty Bell and really get them to get educated. And like, we'll walk around cities, and, it's just been a good fortune to be able to do so much positive work, find a way to make a buck off of, helping in community. And at the same time, not only leaving there empowering people, but also giving our kids a different kind of education, and what Shemeka defines as the hedges and the highways, that we're out there and really, amplifying positive messages. And that's what the Brilliant Bunch was really about our family. Because of the travel, because of us having this unorthodox story, we really wanted to keep our kids together and celebrate them. And now it's just become a thing where we say everyone has their own Brilliant Bunch. Everyone has blended families, and we wanted to find a unique way to celebrate blended families.
Wow, Shamika, we have Deborah Anthony. She's a counselor in St. Louis. Thank you, Deb. She came over from Instagram too. Thank you so much. Yeah. I want to ask you this. This right here where you're talking, I know you have the book about, I love the name of the book was like intriguing to me, like, while I'm getting naked. So that's like powerful. That's why I put your website up there so people can go there to get the book if they want. But are you right here on this clip? Are you doing something with regard to the book? Because if you are, I can play a snippet of it if that's what this is.
This is about illuminating your superpower. So it is breaking down the things within us that may be autonomic or first response that we may not even notice that it's something that we do or people come to us for. But while I'm getting naked, you can probably see more of that on the Shemeka.com site. It's really about having that introspective look in ourselves. I do a lot of my work around leadership with beginning the journey with leading from within. Okay. And that's that self-reflective journey of peeling back the layers of the hats we wear, the mascara, the mask, the things that we hide behind, the pressures and labels that people put on us. And we hold on to it and we walk in it knowing that we hate it and it doesn't serve us. Wow. But we're afraid of what's after that. So we hold on to it. And so while I'm getting naked is that self-reflective journey that you get to peel back these layers and really lay aside every weight that has been denying you from being the best version of yourself. It kind of gives you a prompt. It's literally, I get naked and then I'm like, hey, well, here's a prompt to help you get naked too. And it helps us get rid of the things that no longer serve us so that we can make room for who God has called us to be.
Wow. So listen, like I said before, they are not shooting any bullets that are blank. Okay. Everything about them is full of substance. I'm gonna give you about a 30-second clip of her so you can see how she brings it. Let me see.
If you saw anything about what was going to be happening today, we're having a real live conversation about illuminating your superpower. How we want everyone to be involved in this is some things that you may see in the seats beside you are literally us sharing our lives with you as to what we've done on this journey, what we've done in partnership, and how we've amplified our own brilliance in a way that we made it meaningful and engaging. How many of you ever been in a room where you felt invisible? Just raise your hand. Exactly, because sometimes we don't get the chance to really fully shine in who we are. And illuminating your brilliance is just about that. It's about finding the thing that you're passionate about and that you really believe in, and finding a way to connect that with community to create that change that you want to see. Does that sound good?
It sounds perfect. And so I can't give you but too much because we don't have but so many times, because they do have those children that they have to get back to. But I do want to say this. You want to go to her website. You want to go to her website and check it out, so that you definitely can find out more. And again, I'll put the website up there for you. You want to go check out the website. Now, I know that you also are working on another project right now. Right now, you have another project that you're working on, and I'm going to put this up. You could tell me a little bit about this project because I know you sent it to me, and that is this right here, the Mom My Business Summit. Let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about the summit.
My business is all about the mompreneurs in our lives that are having to be the whether you're the head of household or you're the absolute best mom and you're trying to run a small business. This Mom in My Business Summit and Awards is us giving an opportunity to give you your flowers, to recognize and celebrate you for the great work that you're doing, the power that you're putting forth in community. And our targeted community for North Carolina is Eastern North Carolina. We are amplifying ways to help support mompreneurs. So on May 31st, we are meeting up in Rocky Mount. If you are anywhere within driving or flying distance and you want to come in and support or be a part of this incredible experience, not only do we have the awards and the summit happening, we're also doing some subject matter expert VIP sessions for those that want to deep dive with these subject matter experts that you see here to build your capacity. These are all Black women-led organizations. As you see, we are well represented and we are leading the way to create pathways for us to be better entrepreneurs and small business owners together. We're better together. We're stronger together. And May 31st, we're convening in Rocky Mount. So you can go to my website, Shemeka.com, and get a general admission ticket, or you can get the VIP ticket and get a chance to have specialized executive coaching with our subject matter experts to make your business better.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now I'm going to go over here to your husband. Like I said, they loaded y'all. I told y'all they fully loaded. I told y'all they fully loaded. Mike, now while she's working on that, you have something that you're working on. Talk to us about this idea, because you said in the beginning that you were a person who was an inventor. And I understand that you have a game that you're working on here. What's happening with this game piece? Talk to me about
my goodness. Well, I am so grateful that you've given me this opportunity to talk about it. So, as most people know, again, we are about empowerment and really helping people grow. And I am so fortunate that we have this amazing new game, this product that is not just any simple product. It is a solution to everything that you've been needing. If you ever told yourself in life you don't like math, if you ever told yourself in life I got a bad memory, I need to improve it, well, this is the game for you. This is a game called Chimax. It was developed by myself with my family in mind. I developed it with all of my children. And ultimately, this was a game that we first created to help our kids in their memory skills, as well as help their cognitive abilities in mathematics. And so we decided to take this fun little game that we would play around the house with our children that was originally developed and turn into something that we share with the whole world. As we've been going around building with our organization, I Am Brilliant, we saw there was a great need for innovative ways to really help families to connect, not only spending time with one another, but also creating a way to create some fun gameplay. So again, Chimax, you can go to mosaic.com. That's MOSAYK.com. Chimax is a brand new game that's going to really help families out there who really love fun game nights, I love the ability to really help your child improve their math skills, help them improve memory skills. There's various ways. It's a 40 card deck of cards, original deck. It has different variations of games that can be played with this deck, and it's an amazing opportunity for anyone who's really looking to empower the way they work in regards to their skills in mathematics, again, in memory-based games. So ChiMax deck, please check it out. You can find it on iambrilliant.org. You can find a link to Mosaic there. But again, it's mosaic.com, mosayk.com. And we're excited. We're going to be going around to different organizations who have STEM programs. Summer camps this summer will be popping up and doing presentations. So if you have a summer program or you want to get your hands on any of these decks, be one of the first people to purchase this. You can get it online. But we're excited to introduce it. So you'll hear more about ChiMax. It's just the beginning right now. So I'm excited. Shout out to my son, Max and Chi, who this game is named after, the Brilliant Bunch. They are officially the Brilliant Bunch. So, and then I would be remiss to not say, go check out the Brilliant Bunch on all of our platforms, YouTube and Instagram, as well as ChiMax Game. You can check it out as well, too. So we appreciate that. Oh, you think you're muted again?
If you're just coming in here, you've been listening to Michael and Shemeka Isaac. Michael Stewart Isaac, to be exact, and Shemeka Isaac. I put the website up there so you can see them. They have so much going on, but we're going to respect their time because we have 6 children that they're going to go back to. But if you go to iambrilliant.org, you'll see the information there. Or you can go to her website. You go to her website, and you'll definitely see everything there. I'm telling you right now, they are fully loaded, and they showed you some things they have going on. They talked about personally how they met, and just a powerful, powerful story. We are so excited that they gave us a few minutes to come here today and to be with us, and we're grateful for the time. I'll give you the opportunity to give us any closing comments that you would like to give us in respect for your time. And I just thank you so much. We got to do something together, y'all. We have to do something together. Y'all have been amazing. 10 years ago, I met these people, and they had me hold up a sign that said, "I am brilliant." And little did I know that it was going to be like it was. I mean, they have a sign that they put up, and I had no idea that they have probably, how many people would you say that has held up this sign?
To tens of thousands at this point.
Well,
tens of
all
thousands.
over the world, people
Yeah.
now know that they are brilliant. All over the world, people don't go looking for a workshop or a class or attending school or trying to get a certificate. They know that they can look inside because of YouTube. So give us a closing remarks. I want to thank you so much. And oh my gosh, we can't sum up everything y'all do this quick in an hour. We just can't do it. There's no way. But we wanted to give y'all a quick synopsis of a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So you'll have to go check out some of the clips. We'll break them up so you can get a little bit. But this is Michael Stewart Isaacs and Shemeka Ebony. They're in the Raleigh area, North Carolina Triangle area, but they are someone you can book to come to a city near you or a state near you. So closing comments. Tell us anything you would like the people to know in regards to you, how they can reach you, and however you want to close it out. I'll leave it up to you, Ms. Shemeka.
Thank you so much. And I would want to start this by saying thank you, Crystal, for your community service, your commitment to uplifting others. It is not gone unseen. We're so appreciative for this opportunity to share in this platform. And I am here to partner and align with people that think like you, Crystal, your subscribers, those that you are connected to. We want to connect with you and build capacity and grow with community. So you can find me on all major platforms. Definitely please check me out here on YouTube. I have Shemeka Ebony, which has lots of resources, whether you're an entrepreneur or a community leader and really want to do some self-paced learning. We have that available for you to be able to build and grow wherever you are. If you want to get involved with some of the events we have, please make sure you visit Shemeka.com or check us out on Black Girl Magic Market on Instagram, or come check out our Meta group on Facebook with Black Girl Magic Market. And if you're an entrepreneur or small business owner, that is a safe group for you to come in and build and grow, experiment, try new things, and get access to resources and grant funding opportunities.
Oh, one more last mute.
look at it. You have to know how to do what she just did, y'all. That's called like an elevator pitch. You got to know how to sum it up. You see how she did that? You see how she gave it all to you? She brought it all in. That takes practice, y'all. That takes practice. You go, girl. I'm telling you, because when you do as many things as y'all do, it definitely takes practice to be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes somebody will tell you to get up and people just don't know how to do it. So kudos to you for doing that. Mike, what would you like the people to know?
Oh boy, you're gonna have me I have to go behind Shemeka, right? but I'm definitely proud. Crystal, you know, you like Shemeka said, you're a treasure to the community. We thank you so much for building this platform and giving us the opportunity to share our message. For the people, again, as if you just checking in, I'm Michael Stewart Isaacs. You saw my lovely wife, Shemeka. Definitely feel free. A lot of our information is out there. We have tons of content out there on I Am Brilliant, the letter U, the letter R, and the number 2 on Instagram. I also encourage you to find us on YouTube, where we have some videos. We consider ourselves motivated. I'm a motivational speaker. My wife's definitely an inspirational empowerment speaker. And together we really try our best to give people so much content, so much empowerment, whether you meet us in person and hold our sign, or whether you're just someone who just needs some daily check-in. We have so much information. You can find me under my name under all platforms, Michael Stewart Isaacs on Instagram. I'm on YouTube. So definitely check out my YouTube channel. I have videos, quick hitters, less than a minute or so, that will get you motivated for your day. And also, like I said, this year we're really focused on this new game, ChiMax, to really get out there. So if you have any groups that work with young people, we'd love to invite to come out. We'll bring the game, we'll bring a lot of fun, we'll bring our family, and we'll also bring a lot of motivational impact that I think will definitely be life-changing for you all. So please check us out as you can. And again, the game is at Mosaic, MOSAYK.com. And you can also grab your t-shirt, because some people call me the t-shirt man.
Wow. I thank you guys so much. Much respect. Much respect, man. Amazing. Just amazing.
You amazing, Chris. You brilliant.
Just amazing. Like, yeah, but like the way y'all partner together and bring out the best in one another, and then collectively the way y'all illuminate and just disseminate the information, man. Ladies and gentlemen, you've listened to another episode of Storytime. We'll be back Wednesday. We're here Wednesdays and Sundays. So whatever you do, just check us out. Just remember that we are here, okay? 8 p.m. Eastern. Storytime is where we connect with human beings and their experiences, okay? We ask you to make sure when you come by to make sure you like, share, and tell a couple of people about what you heard today, okay? So whatever you do, when you come back and do the replay, I want you to like, I want you to share, I want you to comment, and I want you to go subscribe to their channels. Go subscribe to their channels, okay? And thank you for all of you for coming through. We'll see you on the next story time. God bless you. I love you guys. Let's get together soon. Thank y'all for watching Story Time. See you on the next Story Time, Wednesday at 8 p.m.
A catalyst for change with the chance to thrive. Crystal is the one to stir up gifts and save lives. You get exposure, promotion, and marketing too. And advertise for business owners just like you. On Storytime, your interview is global. Virtual or in person, just come on the show. Yo. Your story matters. Crystals will open the door. 40 years of experience, ready to give you more on Storytime. Get ready for Storytime. Hey, come on.